Welcome to the Huddle. I'm RB.
I'm Smitty.
Bubba J sitting right in the middle like usual.
He's got a better seat today.
He's always got the good seat.
He might actually be able to see today.
Yeah, last week I noticed that we could see his eyeballs. That was about it.
Just about it.
Hey, the Huddle, as always, is brought to you by Nails to Die For. You can contact Diane Faulkner at 551-265-1396 or get her at AmericanNailTech.com. She's located at 16623 Birkdale Commons Parkway in Huntersville inside the Lennox Salons. And also Rachel Worthy, eligibility coach, who we're going to see this weekend, by the way, at our event that we're going to. And we're going to have some great video clips later on in the show. A bunch of interviews. We're going to Rocky River for this awesome football camp. Yep. Rachel Worthy, eligibility coach, will be there talking to the young student athletes about their future in college sports. You can contact Rachel at 704-207-7082 or get her at worthyathleticconsultant@gmail.com. Did you just shrink? I mean, you're short enough compared to me, and then you just...
I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix the chair.
It's all good, Smitty. Smitty, it's always good. You know that. So,
sorry about that.
Let's jump right into it. Let's get right into the boom.
All right.
I want to set this up for you. I want you to build a mental image, and at the end of this, I want to ask you what your image was based on what I tell you.
Thank you for not making me build something.
No,
I don't think I can do it.
No, you're good. You're good at construction. I know you can build this. So, I go into an eatery for my job, obviously, to pick up an order of food. Mm-hmm. First thing I'm greeted with is, "What you want?"
Uh-oh.
Well, what I want is for you not to tell me, have the first things and the first words out of your mouth when I walk into a restaurant is, "What you want?"
What you want?
Hello, how are you today? How can I help you? All keywords that would be nice to hear once in a while. Okay, we're good. We're past that.
Yep.
I need to put in an order to go. Okay, with a sigh, of course, and a huff, and then finally grab the pad to write down my order. Okay, cool. Now we've proceeded to the ordering.
Oh gosh.
Now it's a Postmates order. You guys know what I do.
Yeah.
It's a Postmates order. And it's a long order. I mean, I had a lot of stuff. Now when I walk into places, a lot of places say, "Oh, let me just read it right off your phone because that'll be easier." Okay. Cool. So I look at her, I said, "Would you like to take the order off the phone? There's a lot of items. There's 10 items on here." "I don't want your phone." Okay. Cool.
Wow.
We're working right towards this order, man. We're moving along. I said, "Okay, I'll read it off to you." I'm reading it off to her, and I notice her hand in her left hand is her phone.
Oh.
Okay.
She isn't paying any attention.
So she's writing down the order. We get the order. We're getting that all done. I get it paid for. Now I've got time to sit there. So I'm sitting there and I'm observing. I'm watching the work ethic of this person.
Okay.
I kind of gave it away. I didn't mean to say she, but I gave that part away already.
Okay.
So I'm watching. I'm just sitting back and I'm watching. I love to observe people. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm the whole time that she's taking orders, the whole time that she's helping prepare the plates and everything to get the orders, not only the to-go orders that she was doing, but the people in there. Never once does the phone come out of her hand. And she is not the nicest person in the world as far as her attitude at this point. Never once. Texting, playing with her phone, handling plates, handling other things. Wow. I get my order. Everything's not... At this point...
Was it correct, though?
No. As a matter of fact, got the order wrong twice.
Whoa.
Finally get the order, and... At that point, she's finally nice. She almost cracks a smile because she noticed at one point that I'm watching her do all this stuff. But it never stopped. It didn't affect her.
That's crazy. It should have at least made her oh God, this person's maybe he's someone in charge here.
Could you imagine? Maybe it's somebody that come at her. No, I mean, I'm telling you, the whole time she complained about the other shift and how they left the place dirty and blah blah blah, on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay, so You got that whole image. You got that whole picture of the work ethic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What kind of age range would you say this person was?
I mean, not trying to be.
What would be your first? What would be your first thought? Your first image?
Well,
what kind of age
Christian
range?
was pointing at herself. I'm thinking young, like they just started working.
That's the thing.
Just started working.
And that's the thing, because there's 2 points to this story.
Okay.
One, that would be the general image that somebody, if they weren't there, and I was describing this story to somebody, if they had no idea who it was, if I hadn't given away that it was a female or male or whatever,
I would assume it would have been
the
someone
first
young.
image is, oh, it's a kid, and the kids just don't want to work today. Well, guess what?
Please.
She was older than me. First of all, she was older than me.
Uh-oh.
So when we form images, and see, this is kind of my inspiration point of this story. When we form images of people without actually knowing the story, that's when we get things wrong in life.
Yep.
This person, and yes, you're right, and most people would be right. They would form the thought and the image that it was a kid who is either inexperienced in work, doesn't care about working. Oh, that's the typical kid these days. They don't want to work. Oh, they don't want to do a thing. Well, guess what? This person was older than me. Wow. So when we form images and thoughts, don't ever judge a book by the cover. We've heard that phrase said a million times in our life, right? Well, there's your example right there. Anybody can do it. But the other thing too, when it comes down to it, when you are in a job, and I see it every single day in fast food restaurants, even in nicer restaurants, when you're at a job that you hate that much, and you wonder why there was like 5 people in the building, maybe when you're working your shift, because of your image that you're portraying at your job, maybe that's why you're not making any money. Because when the people know that you're working there, they don't want to come.
Nope.
They don't want to be in the building. They don't want that kind of service.
I just want to know how she is whenever she goes out to. I'm sorry, like how she goes out to restaurants. Does she act the same way? Like, does she like try to be rude or?
I mean, the thing about it is, you are what you are. You know, and if that's what you're portraying at work, that's probably what you're portraying in your regular personal life. But I just thought, I sat there and I thought this. You know, I was thinking about different. I had a couple different subjects actually for the boom tech, and then that happened, and I'm like, there's just no way I could pass up on it because, like I said, you form an image in your brain about certain things, and I have a lot of talks with my 21-year-old daughter, and the one thing she understands about me is I don't judge people. One, I have lived a life that I have no right to ever judge people ever again. But I don't judge people based on their skin color, based on their sex, based on their orientation, based on their age, based on anything. Because everybody in life can be a screw up. It doesn't matter what you are, where you come from, how old you are, it doesn't matter. No. And this proves the point. Because like I said, first things first, after I told that story, you thought it was a kid, Krishna thought it was a kid, everybody would think it was a kid. So, let's wrap up the boom. Let's move on to the rest of the show. Right. We got an awesome show this week. We're going to talk baseball like we always do because it's baseball season and there's lots to talk about. Yep. We've got a lot of things going on. We headed over to the Ice Time Arena to check out a little hockey tryout.
I tried to do a slap shot there, but I played street hockey.
It failed miserably, by the way. So we got that. We've got more fun action at Rocky River High School this week. Huge football camp. So that that was a lot of fun. And we've got maybe we'll have Young P on the show because we got a little debate coming up.
All right.
We're gonna get into. So let's take a break. Check out some awesome action in between, and we'll be right back. All right, so we're here with the man who's in charge of the Washington Elite Athletic Football Camp, Mr. Jarman Washington. Let us know a little bit about what's going on with camp here at Rocky River today.
Well, we created an evaluation camp for players who can't leave Charlotte. A lot of kids are in financial binds, so our idea is to bring all these college coaches to Charlotte so the kids don't have to travel. We bring the coaches, that's our motto. We bring the coaches to the city so the kids can showcase their talent. We do it in football, and also we do it with basketball with the Sean Walker camp. He brings in a couple of college basketball coaches, but the camp is set up where the kids don't have to leave the city. We bring the coaches in and get these kids evaluated. We try to get them on the recruiting boards. We work towards getting them offers, so they really can get themselves showcased.
Okay. And this football camp is really just a small piece of what you guys do, because as we had talked off camera, you get basketball, and you guys are branching out into doing camps for other sports that you do at the middle school level. Right?
Yeah, we got an elite middle school camp as well, and that's kind of different from this camp. The same structure, but the elite middle school camp is more hands-on.
Okay.
Like on this high school camp, evaluation camp, the college coaches can't actually run the drills. They could be there to evaluate.
Right.
But on the middle school level, because of the NCAA rules, they're allowed to be hands-on with those kids. So next week at Harrisburg Road Park, we got a couple coaches coming back, and they're going to run that whole camp from like we did today with all the combine drills, positionals. But the college coaches are actually running the entire camp.
And where's that camp?
And that's at Harrisburg Road Park.
Okay. And then you've got in June you've also got
the Sean Walker basketball camp at East Mecklenburg,
which the Huddle will be there, by the way.
Yeah,
we'll be there covering.
Yeah,
that for
June 25th, 26th, 27th at East Mecklenburg. And Sean Walker's a great coach. He coached at Elizabeth City and at Grambling. He's going to come in. He brings a couple of his friends, and they run like a beginners camp. Then they do the advanced camp. And they give back. That camp is only priced at $40 for the whole 3 days. It's a community thing to give back, but also they can see the talent in Charlotte.
Okay, so for the viewers that are watching this week, what contact information? How do they get hooked up with you guys as far as looking for Sean's camp in June?
Well, they can go to weacamps.com. That's our website. It hosts all our social media. We have a Facebook page, a fan page on Facebook, Washington Elite Athletics, and also our Twitter is QCWEA, and then Instagram is WEA_camps. You can go there and you can find all our social media. But if you go to the website, it has all our social media and all our contact information.
Well, that sounds awesome. I mean, on behalf of Smitty, myself, the whole Huddle team, we appreciate the fact that you guys invited us to come out and be a part of this event. And, like I said, we look forward to being a part of all the events coming up.
Yeah, it was a great event. We got D1 coaches out here, D2 coaches. We got some D3 coaches that came along. It's a great event, and I appreciate you coming out, Ron.
Sir, I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You have a great day.
All right.
And what we do, outside of the training, we put our guys through a series of developmental workshops. Like we did one last week, kind of partnered with law enforcement, just talking about the criminal justice system. And basically, this was in lieu of a college where they had a situation where a bunch of kids were out smoking and drinking on campus. Campus security showed up. Some of them scattered. A lot of them got caught. Well, these guys not understanding that you're going into the criminal justice system, and now that you've invested all this time in athletics and then school and your major and everything, that it may all go to the waste. Just because of you didn't understand that you're a grown person.
That one simple mistake.
Yeah, that one simple mistake. And so we put out guys try to be on a proactive.
Okay.
With everything in terms of the decision making, and then also we focus heavily on academics. Do a lot of academic workshops. We got about 100 guys in our program. 28 of them have over a 3.2 GPA. Highest being a 4.5.
And what do you do with these programs? You go around from different schools that you.
Well, we set up workshops
in
areas where we have high concentration of trainees, but we open up to all schools because we want all the kids to get the information. Basically, teach them how to market, teach themselves, teaching them how to create a gap with their recruiting process.
Okay.
Using social media. How to conduct yourself if you go on a recruiting visit. Just everything to develop them as men. Really the idea is that trying to use athletics to show them how to be successful in the future. You know, basically.
So many of these kids need this.
Right.
I mean, they don't get their life skills; they get their athletic skills.
Exactly. Because you want to dominate. I tell them to dominate where your feet are.
Right.
You know, and so no matter whether you're in the classroom, whether you're at home with your mom, you know, it's habits that make great athletes. But it's only a short-term assignment. That's the part. You know, they feel failure. I try to make sure that the guys don't feel that depression that I had after my professional career was over because I wasn't geared for life. But going into it, understanding this is a short-term assignment. Okay, it's okay when this assignment comes to an abrupt end. Whether it be injury, age in the game.
Let's face it, it's always going to end.
Right.
I mean,
right.
you're on a limited life shelf anyway, so it's always going to come to an end. And if these kids don't know what to fall back on, then they end up falling through the cracks.
But these young men are also going to be responsible and charged with the responsibility of having a family.
Right.
And so, you know, we want to use this to kind of, you know, teach the kids about how to be great men. Now, when they get to college, you know, instead of partying, you know, and hanging with your teammates, what I need you to do is find that grad assistant on campus that everybody loves on campus, and you need to learn everything about him and become, you know, build a relationship with him because he's going to be in a hiring situation at some point with the university. So generating opportunities essentially is what we're doing. And wherever the chips fall athletically, the kids will feel more complete.
They're going to feel better about themselves. They're more productive members of society. And the thing about it is, to me, and I say it to even to my daughter all the time, it's time to break the chain.
Right.
We need to break the chain in this country because it's the same thing repetitive over and over again. And until we teach this new generation and each generation after that how to break the chain, it's never going to change.
Right. And then kind of the last thing, you know, I leave with my kids after every training session. It's a quote by Eric Thomas. And he said, your talent can take you some places where your character can't keep you.
Right.
And so that's why we focus on, you know, that character part. And, you know, usually if a kid demands excellence, I mean, he's going to be a great football player, he's going to be a great husband, great father, all that stuff. I mean, that's like our overall, you know, mission.
I mean, you know, like you said, what happens on the field is awesome, but it only lasts for a very tiny part of your life.
Right, exactly. And that's why we try to get our guys to understand, you know, what the moment is. Like if you're a freshman, you don't have 4 years in high school.
Right.
What you have is 44 opportunities to get this right. If you get this right and there's 44 opportunities in these games that you have, then your life changed forever.
Yeah.
You know, and not only your life changes, but your parents, everybody, family, they go along for the ride. And so getting them conscientious about time. Sometimes it seems like, oh, I can do this next year. Or I'm gonna start working a little bit harder next year. You know, and so go ahead on and get that investment in now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Hey, we're here in Rocky River today at the Washington Elite Athletics football camp, and look who I ran into. We got former Butler Bulldog great, current App State great, because you are great so far, Clifton Duck. How you doing today, my man?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm just glad to come back down and see the kids get there. You know, I was here, so it's good to come back and help out.
Well, that's the thing is I see so many kids, especially, you know, I see it with Coach Hales with the Butler program, and so many kids after they leave the program, they move on to college, some of them to the pro level, which we had great news recently with that. But so many of the kids come back and help out, and I just think that's an awesome thing.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, you can never forget where you came from, you know. These kids are looking at it just like you did, and the coaches that helped you get here and the players before you that helped you get here, it become your duty to help them get there. And really, it's all about setting the pace for the next wave of athletes to come through and getting that attention on them and helping them get better and get to that next level.
Well, see, the thing about it is, and that's so true, because the one thing that a lot of these young athletes have to remember is, and in your situation, when you were coming through school, when you were coming through the Pop Warner and the youth programs and everything, there were guys there to help you out. So it's awesome when you guys can go back and do the same thing. So the one thing, what's your preparation been like for the upcoming season for App State football, man?
Just working on all the things that I feel like I could have improved on last year. Just making sure your body is right and healthy. That's probably the key when you're going into each season after a long winter workout session. You want to make sure your body recovers. So that's what I'm using this summer break. I'm off for these 2 weeks. I'm gonna work out and just make sure I get my body ready for camp. With camp coming up this summer.
What's now as you get lead up closer to the new season? What's an average workout day for you?
Average workout day would be wake up 6 in the morning. You eat. You leave Probably 7. I get to my workout by 7. I run. My first workout in the morning is running because I cannot run in the evening. So then I'll probably take a break, eat, get some water, something, rest, and then maybe 12-ish, I do my field work, my drills, and then maybe around 2 or 3, I get my lifting in.
Man, that's a long day, but you know when you're the thing about it is when you're a competitive athlete and you're trying to get to that next level, and I know what your dream to that next level is, man. I know you want to get there, and I know you got a little bit of chip on your shoulder too.
Oh, yeah.
I know because of the fact that maybe you didn't get recruited to the point. And talk about a little bit about that and how you ended up at App.
Yeah, App was a blessing because I ended up getting my first offer from Toledo my junior year, going into my senior year. But they had a coaching change, and that offer wasn't on the table anymore. So really, App ended up being my only offer. And I actually got my App offer here at Rocky River at that camp.
Get out of here.
I came to a camp that they had here. They came to Charlotte, and they told me that if I could perform well and I can impress the coaches, then they'd give me an offer. I came here, I want to say a Friday. Saturday, I had to travel to Florida for a 7-on-7 tournament, and they called me on the way. So
that's awesome. That's a matter of being in the right place at the right time. And the thing about it is, there's nothing wrong in life to have a little bit of chip on your shoulder, to go out and prove your critics wrong. And you're getting that opportunity now. So what is the biggest thing you've worked on to improve yourself from last year to this year?
Physicality. I would say I never really lacked in physicality, but it's just something you gotta make sure you stay on top of, because especially on defense and then being what they consider undersized guys.
You don't look undersized to me.
Guys try to come at you and they try to use their size, but I definitely stay physical and just keeping that aggression and using your hands and studying film will probably be my biggest thing. So I really want to be that leader, that vocal leader on the field this year, even more, because I started that last year, but I feel like I can take that to the next level.
What's your 40 time at?
My 40 time, we can't release that. I don't think we
I know, because you're not allowed to post it.
Yeah.
No, but hey, so all right. So the last question for you: what do you want to get out of this upcoming season?
I just want to make sure I improve. I don't get caught up in numbers and things like that. It's just if you improve yourself, then you're doing everything you should be. You don't want to be so focused on the next guy or everybody else out there in the nation. So my biggest thing is if I can improve, if I can show my teammates that I'm working to improve, show my coach that I'm working to improve, and improve as a group with my teammates, then I feel like that's a successful season. A lot of people get caught up in numbers, but you can't focus on things like that, because if you're improving, then your numbers should improve.
That's right. That's right.
I just focus on improving.
Now my man Smitty on the show. He's an App State alum. So here's somewhat. He went there. So here's what we're gonna look to do this year. We're gonna take a road trip. It's gonna be me, RB, Smitty, and we're gonna hijack Coach Hales, and we're gonna come watch you play a couple times at App.
Oh yeah, do that. And
so you're gonna hook us up, right?
Oh yeah, tickets.
There you go.
Definitely got the tickets for you.
There you go.
I think I'm trying to go to Penn State.
Clifton, I appreciate you coming on with us, and we look forward to having you back on the Huddle again. Have an awesome year, and we're going to come up and see you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I appreciate it, man. Hey, it's RB here from the Huddle. We got Smitty on the camera. We stopped by Extreme Ice today to check out the tryouts for the U.S. National Junior Hockey Camp, which will be held in Amherst. The regional tryouts held right here in Matthews, North Carolina, and of course the Huddle's there. And we had a great guest to come watch. Former Saugerties Sawyer standout, Glenn Meyer, his son Kyle is here trying out, so we figured we'd come catch some of the action, check out the videos and photos that we took. Hope everybody enjoys. We're back on the Huddle. I got Young P with me. Of course, we got Bubba J in the middle because we always have Bubba J, Young P.
Always Bubba J.
So, it's time for our debate time, young and old. And this past week, recently, Wendell Carter Jr., his mother addressed the NCAA about her concerns with not only her son, but I mean her overall concerns about the NCAA, the way they handle the kids, what happens as far as these kids leaving early, and whether they're taken care of beyond going a year or 2 years to college and not finishing their education. Correct. She brought out a lot of interesting subjects. She brought up the one word that we hear a lot when it comes to these organizations, the way they're run, the people that run them, and as far as being able to combine different cultures to make sure everybody's getting what they need out of it. And she brought up the word slavery. She accused the NCAA of basically running a slavery because the NCAA is making a ton of money. Let's face it. We know it. I mean, we know the NCAA is making a ton of money off these kids, and basically what they're getting to do is they're getting to go to school for free.
Free. So how do you feel?
I think she brought up a lot of the points that she made, because for me it's definitely a sticking point as far as how can an organization make so much money off these kids with the TV rights and all the money that they make in merchandise sales and admission sales and everything else. I understand where she's coming from. I'm not for paying college athletes to go to school and play sports. I'm not for it at all. There's got to be some kind of happy medium there, because of the fact these kids aren't even allowed, they're not allowed to make money when they're on scholarship. They're not allowed to have jobs, they're not allowed to do these things. So how do you combine it? How do you make it better?
You pay them.
But what form are we paying them?
You have to pay them. Pay them in some form. Just
are you going to pay them equally across the board?
Yeah, you have to in some way. You have to. You gotta pay, because you gotta pay the kids that doesn't have a future, that maybe even includes NBA. You have to at least pay them, because what are they guaranteed outside of that?
See, that's the thing about it, is because when she brought up the points that she brought up, obviously using her son as an example. He goes to play basketball at Duke for 1 year. He gets to go to school for free. He gets an athletic scholarship. It is his choice. It's his choice not to finish his education. It's not the NCAA taking his education away. So in that aspect, I disagree with her, because he can finish his education. He can go play in the NBA if that's his dream. I'm not saying he has to play 4 years at Duke and wait to go to the NBA and wait, so that way he can complete his education. But the one thing I do agree with her wholeheartedly is we're letting these kids leave early, but we're not following up and making sure that...
What she said, and I quote, she said, "The problem that I see is not with the student athletes, it's not with the coaches and institutions of higher learning, but it's with the system. The system where the NCAA makes money off of these kids, where they can brand them. For example, they brand them, like I say, they have gift shops open, they have televised games, they have ticket sales. The athletes don't get none of that. They're just on the court. Or the field, or whatever you want to say.
But see, the thing about it is, and if you're going to go in that direction, if you're going to pay student athletes, these kids that go to college, and make these colleges a ton of money, enabling a lot of these colleges to even stay open. Because with some of these colleges, they wouldn't even be able to stay open if it wasn't for their athletic programs. So yes, I'm fine. Like I said, I'm fine with athletes getting money. I'm fine with supplementing them in a way that they can live, instead of practically having to live like they're homeless when they're in school because they have no money.
That's where the
I'm fine with that. But if you're going to do something like that, it can't just be the star basketball player at Duke that's getting paid. It can't just be the star football player at Alabama that's getting paid. It's got to be every single athlete in every single sport. Whether they're selling merchandise, whether their jersey from them playing on the rugby team is making the school any money, you can't exclude those kids just because the only money you're making is from basketball and football.
Now I retract my statement. It should not even be equal pay. Somebody that's on the bench, ninth man, should not be making the same amount of money as Marvin Bagley does at Duke. They bring this way different attention. They put Marvin Bagley or Wendell Carter, I'm going to say Wendell Carter Jr., they put him on commercials for big games, They advertise him. They put his highlights up. I'm not seeing nobody else in there. So that's why he needs more money than most of these other kids.
And see, that's the thing where it becomes complicated with the NCAA, and it becomes complicated with how you're going to pay them, because you're making them professional athletes. Now you're going to dictate, because you're averaging 20 points a game and you play 5 minutes a game, I'm going to give you less for going to our school and making our school so much money because he's a star and you're not. Now we're gonna base the pay on how good of a player they are. We're going to base that, which means a women's softball player at the University of North Carolina is going to get hardly any money. She's going to get $10 a week because she's making the school no money, and she's not publicized. She's not in any commercials. She's not doing anything that's bringing in a whole lot of money at the school. But then you turn around and tell me that a star basketball player on the men's team is deserving of way more money because you see his jersey all the time, because you see more fans in the stands supporting that team. They should get paid a lot more money.
Just about, yeah.
Then that's where. See, I understand that amateur athletics has left, and they left a long time ago. But now it's a job. Now he's not a student, because he's not getting supplemented. He's getting paid. It's two totally different things.
It is two totally different things, but the NCAA doesn't even let these kids do what they want to do. They can't even have a job. They can't do anything. This is an honorable mention. This isn't about Wendell Carter or anything. There was a UCF football player named Donald De La Haye. He has a YouTube channel called Destroying. He goes to school for this, branding himself. He gets a YouTube channel. YouTube pays him. He loses his football scholarship.
That's right.
He no longer goes to UCF. He's a dropout. But he still makes money. But the NCAA, I agree with her. It is like a prison. And it's like slavery. I understand what she's saying. Like, if you can't go and do what you want to do and get paid, then what's the point in even going?
I'll give you a good example. You know who Greg Anthony is,
yes,
right? But you know Greg Anthony is the broadcaster, correct? Yeah. Are you familiar with Greg Anthony's career as far as him being a player?
Enlighten me.
Okay. Greg Anthony, when he went to UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, back when he went there, they were the Running Rebels. They were the biggest thing in college basketball. He got recruited to go to UNLV. At the time, when he was a high school student, when he was a junior in high school, Greg Anthony started his own business. He started a clothing business. He had a line. He had a very successful money-making business entering college. He had a choice when he went to college. They told him, we want you to come to UNLV to play basketball. We will give you a scholarship. The NCAA found out that he owned a business. You can't own a business and go on scholarship. So the NCAA gave him an option. You can go to Las Vegas. We're not stopping you from going to college. You can obviously afford to pay for it yourself because you own a business. So if you want to keep your business, go to Las Vegas and turn down the scholarship. Or go to Las Vegas on your scholarship and sell your business.
Why can you not be multi-talented?
So he had to sell his business.
Even if he says...
I think that's wrong.
That is wrong.
I think that's wrong because it's something he had established before he went to school. And he shouldn't have a scholarship taken away from him where he is being forced to either sell his business or take the scholarship. That is wrong, and that right there is exactly what she's saying. Because they are ruling your life when you enter the NCAA to play sports. And they shouldn't be ruling your life and making money off of you. I have no problems with the kids making money as a supplement. But when you start to enter into pay scales on how much a certain person is going to make based on how good they are, then that's when I have a problem doing it in college. That's what professional athletes are for.
What if they get paid based off of their star rankings coming out of high school?
If they get paid based on how everybody's a star coming out of high school.
What if 5-star, this amount, 4-star, this amount, 3? That will make you want to press your butt in high school.
So now you're relying on the recruiters.
Yeah. And
what their opinions of you are.
Look, Wendell Carter's mom also said, recruiters recruit for talent and not for their future. So they're already doing that.
And they know you're not staying.
You might as well already just go ahead and pay them based off their star rating.
I don't know. I think it's a real slippery slope when we start getting into how much. If we're not going to pay them all the same amount and we're going to start paying them based on talent, I think it's a real slippery thing that we're going to be doing. I agree with most of what she said, but I think that you got to figure out a system, and I agree with her. They've got to figure out a system how to better take care of these kids when they leave school. So that way, if for some reason when they leave school and they go into their professional sport that they go into by leaving college early, that they still get some kind of education if that fails, because that's where they're falling through the cracks. We're not taking care of them when they do fail. Fair enough?
Indeed.
All right, we'll debate again next week. Young P, out of here. Hey, we're back on the huddle.
Yes, we are.
Smitty,
hey,
RB,
we did it backwards.
Bubba J. I know. I tried to change it up on you, just throw you off a little
We're
bit.
in the Twilight Zone?
We're in the Twilight Zone. Baseball, man.
Yes, I love it.
I tell you what, I mean, we're going to get obviously to our, both our first place teams.
Yep.
Because as of the end of Wednesday night, thanks to the Yankees-Red Sox series and the fact that the Yankees have now won 17 out of their last 18 games, by the way. Woo! Both the Braves and the Yankees are now in first place. But did you see, I mean, in the past week, what the stuff that's happened?
Oh, what?
Saturday, the Dodgers throw a combined no-hitter.
Combined, yeah.
It was a combined no-hitter.
4 guys? 3 guys?
3 pitchers, I believe.
Okay.
Combined no-hitter by the Dodgers, which, I mean, if you look at the history of the Dodgers, it's kind of crazy. 23rd no-hitter in the Dodgers history.
Wow.
I mean, of course, they had this.
Brooklyn.
Of course, it counts Brooklyn.
Okay,
I mean, it's the Dodgers organization.
Okay.
Stayed the same organization even though they moved from Brooklyn to LA. 23, and of course, they had this guy named Koufax. Who threw 21 of those no-hitters, not 21 seriously, but I mean he threw I believe he threw 5 no-hitters out of that, but 23 no-hitters in the Dodgers history, which is the most of any team. It was against the Padres. Now this was I believe it was the 18th time in league history that there's been a combined no-hitter. 18th time, and it had been. I believe 5 years since the last one, the last combined no-hitter. Whoa. This was the 10th time in Padres history that they've been no-hit, which is the most by any team. Which is the most by any team in the league, and they are the only team left in the league that has never thrown a no-hitter. They still have not, because up until a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Before Johan Santana threw the no-hitter for the Mets and the Padres were the only 2 teams left that hadn't thrown a no-hitter. And I mean, you think of you go through the history of the Mets and some of the pitchers that have, I mean, Dwight Gooden, Tom Seaver, you can go way back, Jerry Kuzman, Jock Matlack, I mean, some incredible pitchers that pitched in the Mets organization. Mm-hmm. Nolan Ryan came up as a Met. That's when Nolan Ryan was part of the 1969 World Champion Mets. He was part of that pitching staff. He pitched out of the bullpen. He was a young kid who threw the ball obviously just as hard as he did his whole career, but he never knew where it was going, and that's why the Mets got rid of him. Back right in the beginning of the early 70s, they traded him to the Angels.
He was the original Ricky Vaughn.
Very much so.
I just wish he had that.
He was very much the original Ricky Vaughn. He threw 100 miles per hour and didn't know. The only thing he knew is it was going forward.
That way.
That's the only thing he knew.
Wow.
Batters. I read stories about Nolan Ryan when he was a kid coming up in the major leagues. Mm-hmm. Batters were afraid to get into the batter's box.
They stand in that back.
Oh yeah. I mean, umpires going, son, you got to get in the batter's box. No, seriously, you have to be between these lines right here. That's how wild he was when he was young. I mean, he led when he went from the Mets to the Angels. When he was in his early career with the Angels, he led the league in walks every year. I remember as a little kid, I gotta get back on track here quickly, but I remember as a little kid, I was at my mother's house, and there was an Angels-Yankees game on.
Okay.
He was pitching a no-hitter, and the Angels were actually losing. because he was pitching a no-hitter and had walked so many guys.
goodness.
He actually had walked in a run at one point. They ended up winning the game. He ended up pitching a no-hitter, but they won 3-2.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
I lost the no-hitter. I lost a no-hitter 3-2 in Little League. I threw a no-hitter. I was a little bit wild myself. I played on a terrible team. We made a ton of errors. We lost 3-2 and I pitched a no-hitter.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, back on the no-hitter subject. So you not only had the Dodgers combined no-hitter, but then back at the beginning of this week, the Mariners had a no-hitter with James Paxton.
Right.
And the thing that cracks me up with James Paxton is 3 years ago the Yankees tried to get him, and I remember, he was this kid coming up through the minors, big, tall lefty, throws hard, strikes out a ton of guys. Perfect lefty,
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium. Of course,
Yeah.
you always want a left-handed pitcher in Yankee Stadium. The deepest part of the ballpark is left center field. You want that lefty. And I remember the Yankees talking about going after him, and they actually offered Brett Gardner straight up for James Paxton. And Yankees fans went ballistic. Oh, you can't make this trade out. Well, 3 years later, this guy is one of the best pitchers in baseball right now this year, throwing unbelievable numbers up. Had a 16 strikeout game earlier this year. He threw a no-hitter this week.
Whoa.
And I was laughing with my buddy Chris Caparelli the other night when Paxton was throwing this no-hitter. We're texting back and forth because we're both watching the Yankee
We
game.
should have gotten him.
Well, it was funny. We're both watching the Yankee game, and they're doing live cut-ins because Paxton, he's through 5, he's through 6, he's through 7, and we're laughing. And I sent him a text. I said, Cap, remember when everybody went crazy when the Yankees wanted to trade Brett Gardner for this guy? It just goes to show when you look at, Gardner wasn't a prospect at that time.
Yeah.
He's a proven commodity.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to trading prospects, trading guys, don't hold back.
No.
If you got a chance to get somebody that has a potential of being great,
Yep.
your prospects may not pan out, the guys that you're holding on to.
No.
And that's a great segue into Prospect Central, called the first place Atlanta Braves. Give me a little chop. Don't be afraid. There you go. Give me a little chop.
I need to get. I used to have a tomahawk, but I don't know what happened to it. I used to have it.
It's time to break it out.
I don't know where it's at.
I'm
It's
telling you,
somewhere in the
week by week, as this season goes on, they're making me believe more and more. I'm looking at an image right now that you got pulled up. That guy right there, Nick Markakis, is playing like a kid.
Yep.
And Eric Burns brought this up last week about Nick Markakis.
What's up?
Nick Markakis has the potential. He'd have to have a great end of his career run.
Okay.
But Nick Markakis has the potential to actually end up with 3,000 hits.
Oh wow.
I crunched the numbers a little bit. I'm a numbers guy, especially with stats and everything.
Okay.
If Nick Markakis plays 5 more years, it'll take him to the age of 39. He's 34 right now.
Okay.
He needs to average 181 hits a year, which basically right now is his career average.
Yeah.
He needs to average 181 hits per year for the next 5 years. And Nick Markakis, of all guys, will be in the 3,000 hit club. And my buddy Cap, going back, because we were having this same conversation the other night when Paxton was throwing the no-hitter.
Okay.
My buddy Cap was saying, if Nick Markakis ends up with 3,000 hits, he has to go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Nick Markakis is not a Hall of Famer.
No.
I don't care if he gets 3,000 hits. He is not a Hall of Famer.
How many All-Star games had
2. He had one huge year with the Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
He had one huge year with the Orioles, which I think he had 30-something home runs. Other than that, and he's got 7 home runs now this year, which is actually the most home runs he's hit since he's been a Brave.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's had some.
Since he went to
Well,
Atlanta, he's done a good job playing right field for him.
Yep.
He's been a good job being an on-base guy, a good job being a batting average guy. He's had no power whatsoever. Now all of a sudden you surround him with all these young kids, and he's hitting home runs again.
The funny thing is I actually heard or actually read the other day that the Braves might be one of the 6 teams to land Manny Machado.
Well,
it's going to take a lot of getting rid of.
what would you
key
think
players.
about that? Seriously, because you just brought up the perfect subject. What would you think if they mortgaged some of their future to get a guy. You got to remember, you got to sign him.
You got to
sign him.
You have to sign him because he's a free agent at the end of this year. So you're giving up probably a big prospect in the Serrato or whatever his name was that threw that.
Oh, the pitcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're probably getting rid of him, and you're probably getting rid of either Acuna or or Albies.
Can't do it.
No.
Can't do it.
I feel like you have that's.
I'm not getting
one of those two.
I'm not getting rid of. And we're going to wrap up this segment in a couple seconds here, but I'm not going to get rid of. Now, if you're talking about a bigger package with more bodies involved, and not getting rid of Albies, Acuna, even Sorak, even some of that young pitching.
Yeah.
If I can find a way to get 5 prospects who are still at the minor league level and get a chance to get Machado, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Right now, the fact that they've elevated Acuna to the majors, I can't get rid of him.
No,
the fact that Albies is established in the majors right now, I can't get rid of him. I think it's a perfect landing spot for not only the Braves but Machado, because there's an obvious opening at third base, which is his destiny for the rest of his career. I don't care how much shortstop he plays right now. If he doesn't,
he's a better third baseman.
He's an incredible third baseman. He's an incredible shortstop.
He is an incredible.
But that's the need for the Braves is third base. If you can find a way to put a good incentive-laden package together, not only to re-sign him to a long-term contract and get rid of the right prospects, I think the Braves are a great spot for him.
And maybe give him the number 10. I know you can't, but
I don't know. I don't think you
really
can do
can't.
it. I think you can accomplish. You can accomplish all the other things.
I mean, even in the MLB The Show video game, I played for the Braves. I was a third baseman. I couldn't be number 10. I had to be number 11.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap this baseball talk up, and I want to get into, when we come back, a couple other things. Chuck and Shaq, a little heated, and we're going to show some video in this week's show about it as well. So we'll be right back on the Huddle.
Genuine believer on the NBA, Dwayne Casey, and there were a lot on Twitter from all sorts of different sources about the Raptors heavily leaning, etc.
Steve, I'm sorry.
Casey's going to win Coach of the Year most likely. He's most likely Shaq going to win Coach of the Year. How is it Dwayne Casey's fault that the 2 best players on the team didn't show up? I mean, I don't know what other way to put it.
It's not his fault. The 1-2 punch has not stepped up. And, basically, they're going against LeBron. I know a lot of players, because of certain people, have never been able to get over that hump. But it's not the coach's fault. He's always been a guy that's been well prepared. He's well-liked. He's well-respected. But the players are the ones that are out there on the court. Like, all the guys I played for, they just sat down and didn't scream, and, they just kept it quiet because they said, you know what, we're not going to bail you out, and you know what you got to do. Shaq, if you want to be a champion, when they start hacker-shacking, I'm not taking you out and putting in Samaki Walker. Go to the line and make
Samaki Walker, I see him a lot.
Yeah, I know I see him a lot too. So, I hope they don't fire him. He's a great coach, but, players have to, take it upon themselves and say, you know what, this is what we got to do to make the next level.
Yep.
And, those 2 guys, they just, couldn't get past the king this year.
Well, I want to say,
or last year.
First of all, I think Dwayne is a hell of a coach. He did a fantastic job and deserves Coach of the Year.
Yes.
But
he's
got to repair his relationship with DeMar DeRozan.
No, he don't.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, you have to, because listen, if your best player, you bench your best player.
Why was he benched?
That's not the point.
It is the point.
You don't disrespect your best player.
Listen.
If you don't have a great relationship with your best player, you're never going to win.
That's not true.
He did not.
That's not true.
He did not. Well, in
That's
your
not
opinion,
true.
no. Just because you say something, it's just
That's
your
not
opinion.
true.
No, it's not true.
Me and Pat Riley never saw eye to eye, and what happened to my man win. So it's not true what you're saying.
Well,
it's not true what you're saying.
That's not true.
I'm just letting you know. You know what you did.
Was the man on that team?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Don't even start it.
It doesn't matter. I was a role player. You're right, but you know what?
That's my point. That's my point.
Me and him
I'm
didn't get along.
saying with your best player.
You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to championship.
I'm just telling you something.
Stop babying
Wayne
these
carried
players.
you to that championship. No matter how much you scream, you loud, that does not make you right.
Listen.
You're wrong in the city. You can
And that's why you ain't win, because you was a baby. Stop babying these players.
I'm not babying no players.
He don't play. He don't play. He got to sit his ass down.
But
Period.
He got to repair.
He ain't got to repair nothing. He got to stop babying the players. You got baby, that's why you ain't win.
He got to. I didn't have Dwayne Wade and Kobe Bryant carry me up and down the court.
So why you in the Hall of Fame?
Because
I got 3 Finals MVP, Chuck.
Because you
Google me, Chuck.
Everybody knows you were a great player.
You see that?
Everybody knows you were a great player.
You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to
No,
he ain't got to repair nothing. He got to step up and play.
We all didn't have other players carrying us up and down the court. You can yell as much as you want to.
I got 3 Finals MVP. How many you got?
You were a great player.
Thank
you.
you.
You wouldn't have got him if you didn't have Kobe and Dwayne.
I will say.
And we're back on the huddle. Man, I'll tell you what, I don't think that Shaq and Charles Barkley like each other anymore.
I don't think they ever did.
Actually, they never did. They fought on the court. On the court. They have fought before, actually, out in the public.
Yep.
And now
it's on live TV.
And now on NBA Tonight, whatever they call it, after the game the other night, when of course the Cavaliers close out the Raptors after, oh by the way, the biggest choke job in the world in Game 1, leading the game for 47 minutes and losing Game 1 totally changed the series. That series would not have been a sweep if not for Game 1.
No.
If Game 1 turns out different, my little argument with Young P last week comes true because Cavaliers don't move on. That series got won in Game 1, and I'm going to tell you right now, Shaq's 100% right.
Oh, I agree.
He is 100% right.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't care if the guy's a star, I don't care if he's the 12th man on the bench. If he sucks, he sits.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Oh, yeah, and I remember as a coach myself, not too long ago, but I mean, I played my best players, and if they sucked, I pulled them out, and they would know. Oh, coach, I'm sorry, I must have had an off game. Yeah, of course you did.
I mean, when it comes down to it, and especially when we're talking about the playoffs, we're not even talking about regular season practice. We're talking about the playoffs. What is the one and only objective in the playoffs?
To win.
To win. And if you got guys on the court that aren't playing and giving you the best opportunity to win, I don't care if he's making $5 a week or if he's making $20 million a game. He doesn't belong on the court if he's not helping them. DeMar DeRozan was not helping the Raptors. He was part of the reason that they are now playing golf and the Cavaliers are playing basketball.
Or playing video games.
Or playing video games. Whatever he's doing.
I'd be playing
He's not playing basketball right now. And he was one of the biggest reasons why the Raptors are not playing anymore. He's the reason they're not in the playoffs anymore. Is his play. He's a star on the team. If he's not doing his job, well then guess what? He can become an assistant coach and sit his tail on the bench. And if he doesn't like it, too bad. This has nothing to do with Casey being a bad coach. This has nothing to do with him. What Shaq said in that video that we just saw, what Shaq said is right. Stop babying the players. And this goes for all sports. Stop babying the players. If you're paid to do a job, you're paid to do a job. And that's as simple as it gets. And if you're not doing your job, you know what? You're done.
Don't you get fired?
Go to your job tomorrow. Go, Smitty, go to your job tomorrow and do nothing.
I'll get in trouble. I like my job.
Thank you.
I like my job.
Thank you. Go to your job tomorrow and do nothing and see if you still have a job the next day.
I won't.
All right? DeMar DeRozan wasn't doing his job. Well, guess what? He didn't have a job anymore that night. He got sat down. And that's a simple fact in life. And if people don't like it, and if Charles Barkley, who is my second favorite basketball player, I posted on Facebook this week, he's my second favorite NBA basketball player of all time. Him and Dr. J, Julius Erving, are the two reasons I was a lifelong Philadelphia 76ers fan. As a kid, I became a Sixers fan because of Doc. And then when Charles came out of Auburn and went to the Sixers, right at the end of Doc's career, the two of them played together. I love Charles Barkley as a player. I used to like him a lot more as an analyst, and I think he's gone overboard. And this proves how much he's gone overboard because he was never babied as a player.
No, he wasn't.
He was never babied as a player because when his career started going downhill in his mid-30s, he wasn't the star anymore. He wasn't the focus of the team anymore. DeRozan didn't do the job.
I think my favorite Charles Barkley is the golfer, Charles
Ooh,
Barkley.
Man.
Just because of
that hitch that he's got. Even tried to play golf left-handed for a while.
And he still had the hitch.
And he still had the hitch. And you know the worst part about it is when he's on the driving range, and there's been videos, and they even did a show on the Golf Channel about it, about how bad his golf swing. When he's on the golf range, when he's on the driving range, he kills the ball.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just in this instance he's gone too far, and as far as I'm concerned, Shaq is 100% right.
Yep.
And you know what? Where if Shaq if it was turned around, which it was, did Shaq start at the end of his career? He was still a star. He was still Shaq. He was still the biggest human in the world.
He was.
Okay, but he wasn't on the court all the time. When he finished his career, he played with the Celtics. He went back to the Suns. He bounced around the league.
And Miami.
He went back with Miami. He went with Miami.
He went back to Miami.
He wasn't a starter with those guys. He didn't play starters minutes. He didn't play star minutes.
Nope.
Why? Because he couldn't do it anymore. If DeRozan wasn't doing it, he didn't belong out there. That's as simple as that. Google me, Chuck. Google me. 3 MVPs.
Wait, you have 3 MVPs?
Yeah.
What?
Well, no, I don't. I lied about it. All right. So brings a close to another great show, Smitty.
Yep.
I mean, you know, between the hockey interview this week, you know, Rocky River football camp. Gotta love, man. Making these weekly trips out to Rocky River. You're meeting a lot of good, you know, Young P, our debate this week. You know, I don't always have to agree with him, so, but.
That's what the debate's for. You don't have to agree. And you can still be friends at the end.
And guess what? Your Braves, my Yankees, both in first place.
Woo.
And what are the Mets doing? Batting out of order.
That's fine.
So I'll wrap it up for this week. Give thanks to our sponsors, Nails to Die For, Diane Faulkner at 551-265-1396, or get her at AmericanNailTech.com. She's located at 16623 Birkdale Commons Parkway in Huntersville inside the Lennox Salon. She offers a 10% discount for any new client or existing client that calls and makes an appointment. And she informed me to up that to 20% for anybody through the month of June.
Ooh.
Anybody that calls and makes an appointment will now get a 20% discount.
Awesome.
All they have to do is mention the Huddle. So if they they mention the Huddle, 20% discount at Nails to Die For. And of course, Rachel Worthy, eligibility coach, 704-207-7082, or you can get her at worthyathleticconsultant@gmail.com. That brings a close to the show. So guess what, Smitty?
What's up?
We out of here.
We're out.
Peace.
Later.